All right, we have Coach Brennan here on National Signing Day. He'll have a quick statement, and then feel free to ask questions. Coach?
Morning. It's good to see everybody. This is always a really exciting day. It's obviously an exciting day for the young men across the country that are choosing where they're going to go play college football, and then it's also really exciting for the programs that have spent sometimes years recruiting these young men, and there's a lot of time and effort that goes into that process. It's definitely a different world that we're living in, I would say, 2023 in terms of recruiting. You think about the early signing day that I think we just got that 5 or 6 years ago, and then also the transfer portal is just making kind of the philosophy and how you go about recruiting much different than it has been in the past. And I think everyone is figuring that out as we go. We feel great about this group of young men that has chosen to be a part of our program, and we're excited to see how that also plays out over the next couple months, because I would say we're probably not done, which is interesting, right? Because it was never like that before, but it certainly is now. So I'm excited to talk about these guys. If you want to talk about them, we got a pretty healthy mix of like local kids and Northern California kids, and then also Southern California, heavy emphasis in state, and then a couple out-of-staters that we think will be really impactful for us. So what do you got?
Questions for Coach?
Coach, obviously this was a different type of recruiting period with the transfer portal. What was kind of like the biggest lesson you learned recruiting out of this period?
The biggest lesson we've learned, that's a big question. I think maybe the biggest lesson is just that it's so fluid. It is so fluid. People's rosters are changing daily. Players are other players are coming available daily. And then there's the biggest lesson learned, I think the hardest thing right now is that if you are a high school athlete or you are a junior college athlete, because of the transfer portal, depending on what recruiting class you look at, people are taking, 10% of their recruiting class to 50, 60, 70% of their recruiting class out of the portal. And so, in years past, those were all high school and junior college players that were getting a chance to keep playing. Now they're stuck, and their path is going to be different than maybe it was, literally 2 years ago. And so that part, I think, is the biggest thing that's interesting is just I'm getting a ton of phone calls from high school coaches and junior college coaches, and they're almost in disbelief that people aren't recruiting my kids or they're not signing our players. And I'm trying to explain to everybody that it's much more of a product of the new landscape of college football and recruiting college football with the onset of the transfer portal.
With guys like Cade and Junior kind of ending their careers here.
Yeah.
What do you think was the biggest need for you guys during this recruiting period?
Well, I think that was a big need for us. I think that was, the defensive line is always a really important part of it for us. And, we said that 6 years ago when we started, is that we had to build up our roster in the defensive line and the offensive line. Just those guys are so important. And if you're not good up front, it's going to be a long season. So, we tried to replace some of those guys. I don't know that you'll ever replace the production of Junior Fehoko and Cade Hall. They're just such great players and great leaders and great members of our team. But we're excited about the guys that are coming in, and we're excited about watching their development the way we got to watch Junior and Cade's development.
Jay Butterfield was a former Power 5 quarterback at Oregon. What was kind of your pitch to him to come to San Jose State?
We recruited Jay, when he was coming out of high school, and so we had a good relationship there. And I think sometimes when players go to a situation like that and it doesn't work out for whatever reason, there's a million reasons why it does or does not work out, and they come back to us. Lots of times it has to do with the relationship we established when we recruited him the first time. And he came down here and watched practice, and I think for Jay it was just getting an idea how it felt and getting an idea of what the quarterback room was like and what the scheme was like and what the coaching staff was like, just how the whole program felt, and he really enjoyed it. And I think the quarterback room has a lot of good guys in there, good players, and they really embraced him. And so I think that felt good, and he was excited about it.
How do you think he can help Chev out, and how do you think Chev could help him out as the season as you guys prepare to get to next season?
Well, Chevin's our quarterback, right? And we all know that. And so, but I also think there's real value in healthy competition, right? I'm hoping they push the heck out of each other. I'm hoping Walker and Tyler Voss and Anthony, I'm hoping they push the heck out of each other, and I think continues to elevate. Right? The more intense, the more pressurized you can make the reps in practice, the easier the games are, right? And so I'm excited to see all those guys get into spring ball and get playing again.
Cade Millard was a local kid out of Foothill High School, a linebacker. What do you think he brings to a defense, your defense, and what kind of strengths did you see that made you recruit him?
Just a real pass rusher, which is kind of what you asked your original question about replacing Caden Jr. And Cade's got some time to develop. You know, he's going to need to get bigger and stronger like all 17-year-old young men need. But we're really excited about him. And I think as you go through the process, it's always valuable when we can get a really good player from the Bay Area to stay home and choose us. And we're really excited about that. That's what we had with Caden Jr., right? Both Bay Area kids right up the street, right? So same thing with Cade Millard. We're excited about him.
Did you think that kind of your success this past season helped get more more recruits outside of California?
You know, I think people are paying attention to our process of improvement here. I think people are aware, which is exciting. You know, it gives us a chance to widen that scope a little bit and to bring, even our current players understand that we're trying to bring the absolute best players we can every year into this program, because we know that the rising tide lifts all boats, right? The more competition, the more intense practices, the more we have really good players competing against really good players, right? That iron sharpens iron, right? So those things will elevate. So that's what we want to do. And so as much as our success can help push us forward, continue to push our program forward, continue to push our university forward and raise the profile of San Jose State University, we're excited about that, and that is happening in real time.
Isaiah Fonse was a big running back out of Montana State. I think he had set the record for most 100-yard rushes in a season. And I mean, what kind of dynamic does he bring to an offense, that's pass heavy, but a guy that can really get you 100 yards anytime he wants?
Yeah, Isaiah's been a great player. He's a leading rusher in Montana State history, right? So, and that's a heck of a football program. So we have a lot of respect for those guys. And when he was looking to come home, this was just a really good fit for him. And we really had a good visit. I think he's another guy, like Kyrie hosted him. Kyrie was the one that was like actively recruiting from the player level, which is great. I think that's a really cool thing. That gives you a chance when the players understand the importance of recruiting, when our players actively engage in the recruiting process of these guys, that talks to our brotherhood. That talks to the desire for us to want our players to want to have a great football team. And that helped getting Isaiah to choose us.
Kyrie, how involved were players in the recruiting process?
They're always involved. Yeah, so players are always involved, right? All the players, when recruits come on an official visit, they're always part of their process at the meals, and the players, they'll go and spend time with the players socially. That's part of the visit, where they get a chance to experience kind of what it's like to be a student here without the coaches around, right? And we want that. We welcome that. I want the recruits, when they come on visits here, to ask our players real questions. I want them to ask about me, ask about the coaches, ask about the environment, ask about the school, because I want those players to have real answers as they're trying to make this decision to choose San Jose State, and I want them to feel great about the choice they made. I don't ever want a player to feel like he got talked into something or tricked or fooled. I want them to be like, yes, I'm excited about coming to San Jose State. I can't wait to get there. This is the best choice for me. It's the best fit for me.
Last one I got for you, Coach. Do you have a favorite recruiting story from the past couple months?
From this year?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. I don't know. I think, I don't know what would be my favorite one from this. There's always funny things that happen in recruiting. You get surprised, or your car breaks down, or you're stuck in an airport with bad weather. I don't know off the top of my head if I have a. Let me look at these guys here and see if there's any funny ones that I can think of. I will say, like, the bowl game experience in practice was awesome for us, right? It was great. We didn't win the game, and that was frustrating, but just being on national TV and the experience and the extra practice time, but it made recruiting complicated for the early signing day, because we were on the road every day, and then signing day came, and we were in. It was the day after we played the game, right? So, so we would, if practice ended at noon, right? Everyone was just jumping in cars and driving to recruits for home visits, or jumping on a plane and flying somewhere to go see somebody. So that made it really, that was fun and exciting because we haven't had that experience here, right? Because in 2020, we was in the middle of COVID, we didn't have practice here for the bowl game. So that part was made it like challenging, but also exciting because, we were in the postseason and practice. The practice environment was great, and then we're getting on a plane to go talk to somebody in some other part of the state.
Any more questions for Coach? All right, thank you, Coach.
Thank y'all.